Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. I've talked a lot about joy and perception, changing consciousness and awareness. If you start to feel more joyful, which I believe is a choice, many times humans are waiting in order to feel something that creates joy for them in order for them to change their mind. But it actually doesn't work that way. We literally need to look for and seek out those things that bring us joy individually, and everyone's unique. Not everyone is turned on by the same thing. So you have to spend a fair amount of time getting to know yourself, getting curious about you. And remember, older soul types are very curious about others, almost as a protective mechanism. That there is a huge aspect that empathic people are protecting themselves, which we don't need any form of protection, by the way. So could be conscious, could be very unconscious, but they're feeling others so that they can protect themselves because they believe incorrectly that if they know how other people behave and react, then they can behave and react in a certain way that would let people be nice to them or be happy with them, things of that nature. And although that's a lovely attribute to have when you're using it in a way to not really enhance your life, but to keep your life small or not allow yourself the freedoms that you deserve, then it can be also difficult to be curious about your own happiness, what really makes you happy. There will be days where things are so incredibly aligned. And because you now have been practicing, I remember that hearing trickling water for some weird reason makes me happy. I'm going to go seek that out. I'm going to go listen to a YouTube video. You search for and you attract to you those things that naturally bring you joy and elevate your vibration and your frequency and your energy system. That is really how you also change your perception, because it's through a higher frequency of your energy that you begin to see things differently. You change the way you look at life. You change the way you see yourself. You change the way you encounter others. It's a whole game changer. And everything really is about perception. To heal our body is a shift in perception. To live a life in alignment with fulfillment and purpose is a change in perception. To have wealth and financial freedom in your life is a change in perception. All of it is a shift in perception. And that perception is easily recognized and attracted to you through your consciousness when you're more joyful. And it's okay if you don't know what that means. It's okay if you don't feel joy very often right now. It's okay. Like, you have to love yourself where you are, and any aspect that you want to change, you have to appreciate and value where you are. You have to love your body where it is. You have to love your romantic life the way it is. You have to love your resources the way they are. There's a two-part aspect to manifesting, which again is about energy and perception. You have to authentically appreciate exactly where you are and be kind to yourself and feel what you want as if it's already here. Practicing the vibration of feeling joy allows you to lean into to the feelings of what you really want, so that you can articulate them and practice that frequency and that vibration. Maybe you'll even see someone who's actually doing something that you would love to do in this world, and you don't have to know why. Why is not an important knowingness. In fact, it's probably one of the least important. If we need to know why, we're going to find out much, much later. When I first became a nurse, which I loved, and I loved nursing school, I often thought, why? Because my family of origin is incredibly holistic. My mother has only seen an eye doctor, except for when I drag her to urgent care clinics. uh, because she doesn't really like to see modern medicine physicians. It's not her favorite. She doesn't like it. She's 87 now and is not on any prescription drugs. So I had a very different upbringing than most people. A lot of people enter holistic medicine because they've experienced some negative things, whether it was with their own body or if they were a clinician in modern medicine, then they wondered if there was more to healing besides modern medicine. I had a very different effect. I was raised very holistically, was rarely taken to a physician when I was young, and didn't visit doctors when I had a health issue, recognized or diagnosed. I would most likely be at a modern medicine facility, having some sort of normal health checkup. And if I had an issue, I would just go to a naturopath. And my naturopathic doctors that I've seen always healed the modern medicine diagnosis. So I didn't have to go back to modern medicine for treatments or whatnot, whatever the situation was. Always. That's always been my experience. So I was like, why? Now, if you're in that moment in life, and it doesn't matter what the topic is, and you're in that, why is this happening? It could be something you don't like. Like, I was actually happy in the hospital. I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. And there's a lot of cool things that modern medicine can do, like a kidney transplant, deliver a baby that's not coming out of the womb appropriately, C-section, so that a mother and a child are healthy and well and alive. There's so many cool things that modern medicine can do that I really didn't have a full depth of the awareness until I worked in a hospital and saw miracles every single day. But it wasn't until later that I got the why answer. And so I eventually let go, luckily, because a lot of people have a hard time letting go, especially old soul types. They hold on. They've seen so much that they're maybe not conscious of. They've had so many interactions in all of their lifetimes that they assume in the Rolodex of their brain they're going to have a why answer or an answer to the why question because they've had so many experiences. But that doesn't mean that the answer exists. And it certainly does mean that letting go is where we get to the why, if we need it. A lot of times we don't need it. So it was years later, I had obviously let go and I was way too busy to be focused on such a question. And I started having multisensory experiences that led me to the career I've had for nearly 30 years of energy healing and mediumship, and allowing myself to answer people's questions that I've never met and that may live many thousands of miles away from me. So try not to get caught up in the why. Stay focused on the joy of something, or stay focused on the curious. How can I find joy in this? How can I find joy in that? Because there is something joyful to everything. And when you can find the joy, then you're going to change your perception. You're going to have a different reality. You're going to have a different awareness. And that's really what your body is searching for. Because once you find the authentic, happy accident, if you will, then you're going to change the vibration in your body. Your frequency is going to elevate. You're going to be led to different perceptions and awarenesses. And you're going to be happy. So you're going to start to feed your cells, your DNA, your organs, your bones, your tissues with positive energy, which helps people to stay healthy. Yeah, amazing. Now I'm going to go to the phone lines and listen to people's questions and give my personal intuitive answer. So I personally answer people's questions. I'm not giving a general answer. It may seem like that sometimes because there are a lot of people who A, don't know how to be happy, B, don't believe in joy, think that it's something that you have to it has to happen in your life before you can experience it. I'm just using this as an example. So that it may feel like some of the answers are general, but they're really not. I'm really reading that person's energy. I'm reading their life. I'm listening to what the universe wants me to communicate to this person. I'm doing a channeling psychic answer, basically. So we're going to go to the phone lines now.
Hi Marie, it's Maryanne Scriven from the UK. You've answered one of my questions before beautifully. I really want to know if I have spirit guides and people with me. I've been meditating for 8 months now, every day. I make a big deal of it and set the scene and everything, and I get so frustrated because sometimes I experience feelings like electricity and a knowing, and sometimes I get absolutely, because I desperately want this relationship with anyone who's here to guide me, because life's so hard,
No, it's not.
and as a nurse, and I have so many challenges. It would be so nice to have that relationship, and I just know in my gut there's something there somewhere. I just don't see anything, and I don't always experience anything, but I still have a passion to sit down and try and try and try. Bye.
Okay, that was bye. Okay, bye. Bye, Maryanne from the UK. And again, I love it when the callers tell me where they're from. It brings me great joy. It's interesting. It's actually quite fascinating to me. So, meditation is not about getting answers or solutions or having mystical experiences every single time. Like, that's the bonus. That's the, oh, that was amazing. Thank you, universe moment that sometimes occurs during a meditation. Meditation is to help you to learn how to quiet your mind when you're not meditating so that you can return to the vibration of the present moment. Meditation is all about getting into the present. The present moment feels like nothing, but yet it's everything. It's very big, it's expansive, it's unique. And there are answers and solutions, beautiful ones, accurate ones in that meditative experience. But frustration is a very low vibration and frequency, very low vibrating frequency. It's also not good for your gallbladder, the bile duct, or the liver. It's not good for any of it. And your gallbladder looks it's cute, but it looks a little sluggish to me. I see a little bit of backup in that bile duct as well. If you could, and you can, but it's your choice, if you could catch yourself every time you start to feel that momentary of frustration, and believe me, you feel frustration not just when you're meditating or finished meditating and you don't have what you consider a connection to your spirit guides or archangels. If you could catch yourself and simply appreciate you and love you and be kind to you, you could even say, honey, I'm sorry you're feeling annoyed in this moment. I just love you so much. That's really what we want. We want to be recognized. We want to be felt by ourselves. We want to be seen. We think we want this with others, which of course is lovely, but we really, really want it with ourselves. That's the being that wants to be adored and cherished, is by you. Your inner being wants to be recognized, adored, and loved and cherished by you. So I think if you can start nurturing yourself pre these frustrated moments, you won't have them so much, number one, and you'll be able to sneak into the nothingness and begin to experience your spirit guide. So all of the universe communicates with humanity all the time. Nobody is alone or left out or ignored. So it's happening all the time. And you are meant to have an awareness of this. You could feel something, you could hear something. Things may happen to kind of get your attention. That is critical for us to really be aware so we can catch that moment. The universe could communicate through a song, a movie, a bird, a stream, a frog. And that's why when you practice meditation, which means being in the present moment, when you start to hear something that you think is interesting or beautiful, or it catches your kind of like a surprise, you still yourself, you still your energy, you become more deeply grounded into the present moment. And that's when you could absorb something in that moment, or you're going to absorb it in a later moment, but you've already created the connection. You've created the connection by being in that beautiful space of frequency. And then the moment will either be there or it'll be shortly there, like a day or two. You all of a sudden you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. You'll have an awareness. So have fun with this. The more you have fun, because your guides are funny and they have kind of a dry sense of humor, which means you like a dry sense of humor. Like my guides do not have a dry sense of humor. I don't find any form of sarcasm funny, which, some people don't appreciate that about me. I don't find it funny at all. I find it annoying and kind of rude. I don't like it. So, but you like a dry sense of humor, which I'm not saying is sarcastic, but you do, and your guides have this really incredible dry sense of humor, and you're gonna have so much fun communicating with them. Just follow what I suggested if you want to, and then you'll be happy. And we're meant to be happy no matter what. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. I have a question. If you could just let me know about the angels that are around me or my guardian angels. I for the last 16 years, I've been in a career where I love what I do and I find so much joy in it, but I am finding that I have to change. I'm getting that feeling, the same joy is not there, and feel like I have to change careers or careers, and I might have to move. I'm not sure. And I'm wondering if the angels around me are able to guide me, and if I'm able to hear them so that I can listen to the messages that they have. Sorry, that's a lot. And my name is Ruchika. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, Ruchika. No, it's just rinse, repeat. Whatever I told Maryanne, do the same thing. But your guides are really happy. They communicated, two things thus far. One, to have a career that you love is still kind of unique in the world. Unfortunately, it's becoming more common, like collectively the human race, partially because of the pandemic, because people can actually be in their own energy when they work. Those who get to work from home allow themselves a lot more quiet awareness, compassion, ease. They don't have to get in a car and drive for hours or try to go find food in the middle of the day. And they can go in the kitchen and prepare something or order, Instacart and have something delivered or whatnot. So they're applauding you and whistling your guides. So you do have archangels. This is how I look at archangels. They have very big energy, kind of like Christ energy, Buddha, Muhammad, which Christ did not approve of the Bible. Muhammad did not approve of the Quran. And, eye for an eye is actually not a godlike truth. I'm not telling you for your own information, Ruchika, but just everyone in general. Our listeners might be hearing Charles barking. He got left outside before I came to record, and he's letting me know he wishes he was in here. Okay, so archangels like Muhammad and Buddha and Christ and other incredible, amazing beings of light, their energy is so large and so big, like archangels, that they can affect masses and masses of beings, many, many spirits all over the universes. So it's not that the archangels are around us all the time. They could be around us for periods of time, but they are really holding energy for the masses. But they do come towards people. So I'm going to focus on your spirit guides. And your spirit guides are very unique. They have a lot of talent. Again, you have a lot of them. I don't think I said that. Like 48. That's a lot of spirit guides. That means the number actually for you would be, sorry, I think it's like 8. Yeah. So 8 is a very lucky number. It's all about fortune and flow. It's the affinity sign. And so you are lucky and fortunate. A, you found a career that you love. B, and this is what your spirit guides said about you. The second thing that I heard is they're so proud that you're noticing that it's time for a change. When people have been fortunate to have, a real incredible love match, or people in their life that they love, to the ends of the moon, or a career that they love to the ends of the moon, or financial freedom that they value and appreciate to the ends of the moon, or a really healthy body. By the way, all of that is normal for everyone. A really healthy body that they love to the ends of the moon. Because they've had this experience and it's just been this consistent, powerful, wonderful influence in their life, when it starts to change, they can feel it. This is good. That's your spidey senses telling you, oh, something's going to change, because it needs to change. We aren't meant necessarily to stay in one career path for 80 years. People live a long time, and people are not going to quit working at 65. It's not going to happen, especially those who love their careers. They're going to find ways to hopefully work less, because I think that's healthy. I think it's important to have a healthy personal life and a vivacious life of activity and fun and play, along with work that, screams amazing, joyful, vibrational energies to you all day long. So your guys are thrilled that you've recognized it. They're like, good job. Because that's like half the battle. When people can find out that a relationship is over in their life, which doesn't have to be a partner, it could be a friend, could even be a family member. I mean, there are people who have family member connections that are like incredibly toxic and horrible. And we're not supposed to have relationships with those people. They may serve a purpose for us to go, oh, this is not what real family looks like. You may share DNA molecules. I mean, maybe you don't know, right? Until you do 23andMe or something like that. But that doesn't mean that they're actually family. Doesn't mean that. Your next step to recognize the next career, you don't have to move if you don't want to. Like, I wouldn't do anything unless you felt inspired to do something. Like, I went to nursing school because it inspired me, and walked out a psychic. So fun. Begin to do what we're talking about. Find the joyful things. And I think you need to spend some time finding out what brings you personal joy, because work is an animal in itself. And I think people who really love their work do put a lot of energy into it and spend a lot of time doing it, because it's such a powerful thing. But we're also meant to be just as joyful in our personal lives too. That's why I love walking Charles, because I love to walk. It's great to have a big dog that needs to walk, because I'm forced out in nature, no matter what the weather is, to listen to tree frogs and look at blue herons, some of my favorite, creatures on earth, and to be stimulated in joy repeatedly every single day, no matter what. So spend time figuring out what brings you happy. You're on the right track. Your guides are clapping. They're excited for you. What if I've discovered what's next? What if I allow the universe to help me to discover what's next? What if I'm experiencing personal joy just because, and everything is getting clearer? All right, great question. Thank you.
Hi Marie, my name is Sage Kimura. I reached out on Instagram. I just wanted to get on here and ask you for a little advice. And as I told you in the message, I'm a nurse. I started at the wound care clinic, and I'm still working 2 home care jobs, so I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm finishing my bachelor's degree, and I feel like I'm just kind of aimlessly trying to figure out where I need to go and what I need to do. I feel like I'm not giving myself what I need physically, and I've dealt with some health issues in the last couple years, and one example being hair loss, which has been really triggering and stressful. And I've been doing everything I can, like diet wise. I cut out gluten, dairy, and sugar for as much as I can. I was being really strict. I've kind of fell off a little bit, but I just want some soul guidance on where I need to go and how I can just bring myself back to balance and let go of this stress that I feel like is inevitable right now. And I want my health to be not what it used to be. It would be nice if my hair could get back to what it used to be, but yeah, I feel like just any little piece of wisdom would be very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much for what you do. And I'm excited to listen to the podcast and hear my answer eventually. And I hope you're having a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Sage. I absolutely am having a great day. I'm sorry for the health issues. Hormones, hormones, hormones. Get your hormones checked by a naturopath, including DHEA, your male hormones, female hormones. Check them all out. Find out what they are, because that is one of the leading causes of hair loss, by the way. It's also about our connection to spirit and God. There's always an energetic connection to everything that's happening physiologically in the body. And the energy, once it changes, will help us to get to solutions if we need them. Because sometimes people don't need physical solutions if they heal the energetic cause. I think you need physical solutions. You are really, really tired. Could you also please work on, and did I say get your hormones checked by a naturopath? Please, please, that would be ideal. And I don't think humans should take modern medicine hormones, only compounded hormones that are bioidentical. And that would include any child that's going under some sort of transition, a gender transition, although I think that should wait. The brain isn't fully developed until we're 30. I've met people who are now in that age group where their brain has finished, forming, who had some gender altering surgery. And now they wish they hadn't. I don't think they regret it, but they feel like it was unnecessary and that it was a lot of stress and pain and challenge to them. So again, I think that if an adult who's had some life experience, and because I think we need to, and I don't know why I'm saying this to you right now. Who knows why I'm saying it to you? It's not about you, but it could be about people in your life or things that you're thinking about. Is that if an adult wants to change their body because it brings them passion and joy and happiness, great. I don't think we should change our bodies because we don't like the body we have. I think we need to learn to like the body we have and then see what we would like to do. That's what I think. And all humans have to learn to like their bodies because our body changes from the moment we are conceived until we leave Earth. When we don't have a body any longer, it changes the whole time, constantly. When are humans going to like their bodies? That's what I'd like to know. And I do think it requires some work. So please, Sage, I believe that's who I'm talking to right now. Yes. Work on your vibration with wealth, which I think you've been listening to the podcast. So that means you need to determine what makes you happy. And it's usually not people. It could be smells or tastes, texture, and focus on that as you engage with wealth so that you have more wealth. And thank you for doing all the beautiful wound care. It's a science in itself. Working in an area of the hospital where people's immune systems are being altered to hopefully save their lives, obviously people would get wounds. Either their surgical areas wouldn't heal very well or they would develop a wound because they don't have a great immune system and they're laying in bed for long periods of time. Some people, but not all of them, thank goodness. And wound care specialists would come in and take care of our patients. And sometimes they would use seaweed. Yeah, it was amazing. So thank you for what you do.
Hi, Marie. My name is Stacey. I've been going through a lot of changes over the last few years, getting divorced much later than I should have. finding my spirituality in the process, really leaning into getting to know myself and trying to learn how to love myself. In doing so, I'm finding that the corporate world that I've spent decades in is an environment that feels very hostile now, very misogynistic.
Right?
And I'm no longer in a place where I feel like I can just bite my tongue and take it for a paycheck. I want to try to slowly transition to something new, getting out of the corporate world completely, while staying in my current job and maintaining that financial comfort while I transition. But I feel like I'm coming to terms with the fact that it's just not going to be an option to stay in my current job and slowly transition, because the work environment is so toxic. I can't seem to move forward towards a new goal simultaneously, because being in my current work environment takes so much out of me. I know that my youngest daughter really needs more attention and time from me, and I would really love to be able to give her that, and also, be able to have abundance in a way that works for me in an environment where I can feel good and happy and not literally miserable every day. So anyway, I would love your take on that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Stacey. And I think what's happening is you're just waking up to your power. I think you left the marriage at the perfect time. I think a lot of people who are choosing to leave a marriage, I was sitting with a bunch of people recently, and one person commented that they had a friend that just out of the blue, their spouse wanted a divorce. And I go, that's not what happened. They just weren't listening. They weren't paying attention. Their spouse had been complaining or asking for change. And this person was in denial about what was happening. So people, before they get divorced, if they choose to, and I do think it may not happen in my lifetime, but I do think we will eradicate marriage licenses. We're going to move into a different paradigm about it, so that getting into a relationship that's long-term and getting out of a relationship, if that's necessary, that's long-term, isn't so expensive and time consuming and so explosive to our families and our communities. We're going to start to respect people's needs for change and start having beautiful conversations and not have to spend tens of thousands of dollars getting out of an unhealthy relationship or getting out of something that no longer serves us because it no longer serves us. But at some point, hopefully for most people, I know it was true for me, the marriage initially was serving you and gave you what you wanted, and beautiful people in your life, offsprings and other relationships and experiences that brought you great joy. So remember that. I love that you're like, I should have left. I mean, I think anyone who wanted to end a relationship could look back and go, could have lived 5 or 10 years earlier. But we also want to go back to the parts that were very fulfilling and helpful and joyful and interesting, just because that keeps our vibration elevated. What I'm going to ask you to do, because you are going to move into a completely different career path, and it's not that you're not ready. We're just working on you changing your perceptions in your mind, because you have this weird perception that work is associated to wealth. Wealth is a different vibration and frequency. That's what you need to work on, is your energy and connection to whenever you think of wealth, whenever you are connected to your resources, even though right now they're being fed by your current job. We want to have a really healthy relationship with wealth, so that no matter what we do, if we take a sabbatical from work or we take time off, not because we're sick, just because we don't want to get sick and we're going to go have fun and be creative or take time to discover what would bring us more joy. So you need to change this paradigm and stop thinking, I have to do this in order to create this amount of wealth. No, wealth is a separate vibration and frequency, and that's what you need to work on. But you're going to have a different career. But what I'm going to encourage you to do, because I saw one of my clients' faces in my head as you were speaking, which is an intuitive process. It's my intuition speaking to me. A person who works in the corporate world, who, I don't know if she used that same language, but didn't like the company she worked with. And she changed her vibration and her frequency and found a corporate company that's paying her more than she's ever been paid, that had run mostly by women. Not that men can't be wonderful in the workplace, but there's less misogyny typically. when you work with more women in the corporate world. She worked for a company that their mission statement matched all of her values. So she's having so much fun. And then when people have fun, then they start to give themselves the freedom to explore things that would be more entrepreneurial, more independent, out of a corporate world. Because it is really fun when you run your own business. I mean, there are daily things that I have to make decisions about that I've never had to make a decision about still. But overall, I get to make all kinds of decisions that benefit me and keep me aligned in my belief system. So you're waking up to your power. When people, and this is predominantly women in the world right now, but men can do this too, give their power away, align to people who are going to lie to them or not trust them or not believe them, which is something that women have notoriously done for centuries. And we're not going to blame men. Women have allowed this to happen too. We've already blamed lots of people, but we want to take responsibility for ourselves. Like when I hire people to work on my house, I hire people because I've certainly met a lot and have previously in different homes hired people who didn't listen to me, who didn't believe what I said, who didn't do what I asked them to do. Weird, right? But I've learned to hire people who value all people's voices and who listen to their clients' concerns or what they want to do. And of course, give realistic answers about, yeah, we can do that or we can't, or that's not necessary. And so this is really about you, just like all of us. You're stepping into your personal power. You're not allowing yourself to be influenced in those ways any longer, and you don't like it. I'm kind of excited for your work situation as you start to move out of it, because you aren't going to keep your mouth closed, nor should you. People don't change because we just sit back quietly and they don't change. They don't have opportunities to change, whether it's a partner, a child-parent relationship, a teacher-student relationship, a work employer relationship. They don't change, or a contractor, or a gardener or whatever. Those people can't change. We can't change if we don't have honest communication and conversations. It doesn't mean you have to stay there forever under difficult circumstances. But while you're on the way out, practice speaking your truth. And if it does affect someone consciously, it doesn't mean that they're going to have a change overnight and be 100% different. It can take many years or decades for someone to change, or lifetimes. And then there are some people that have a light bulb moment because it's not the first time that someone has said that to them. It could be the 10th, the 20th, the 5th time where someone goes, oh, wow, okay, I got to look at that. So this is exciting for you. You're in a great place. I'm excited for you. Congratulations. Okay.
Hi, this is Karlyn, and I'm from Oklahoma. I experienced a strange event with a coworker that I had just met. When I locked eyes after walking into a room, a burst of energy billowed from my base of my torso, and it built up stronger up my spine, through my heart, throat, and the very top of my head. It was so intense I had to run to the bathroom, catch my breath, and try to figure out what in the world was I feeling.
Maybe cry for a second.
It was so unexplainable that I'm kind of wondered from this day, what was that supposed to be, and who was he supposed to be in my life? From that day on, I've been bombarded by angel numbers. I have had the ability to hear very clearly from spirit guides. And I believe that ultimately helped me get through the cancer journey and the eventual death of my husband, who passed 2 years ago.
Sorry.
So my main question is, what was that energy that I experienced? And what do I do now with the gifts that I have available to me, as I want to get stronger with my abilities, but I honestly have no idea who to ask or what do I do next?
That was a great question. Super, super fun. So people come into our lives and can be a catalyst for us. It could even be someone temporarily embodied that man, and there was an energetic connection. It could be that this person, I'm just giving you examples. It could be that this person is part of your soul pod. When a soul is created, it comes from creation, right? Creation births another soul. I always see a ball of fire as source energy, which we are all a part of, an irreplaceable part of source energy. And when a new soul is created, it's like another ball of fire is created. And when the universe gets really inspired, it births a whole bunch of inspiration, like maybe 1,000,000 or 500,000 new fireballs. And those fireballs, when they were created, are part of a soul pod. They have similar consciousness, similar awareness. They get each other. This person could have been part of your soul pod, and you had this kind of awakening. When I got off the plane in Ireland last year, and it was my first time going to Ireland, I'd always wanted to go, and I didn't know why, because I already live in a rainy, wet place that I happen to love, but I already live in one. So I'm off the plane. I landed in Dublin, and like many European airports, you have to, kind of walk from the tarmac into the airport. Or sometimes you get on buses and they take you in. It's the infrastructure is kind of missing, or it's just different. Who knows? But so I'm walking from the tarmac to actually the airport, and there's people that are working that are standing close to the crosswalk so that we don't, so all of us don't venture off into undesired places and get hit by an airplane or some cart or something like that. And I look over, and there was a young man, maybe standing 30 to 40 feet away from me, and our eyes locked for what was probably just a second. But I had this profound feeling, almost like I was hit by light. His eyes were such a deep, beautiful blue. My father has had, he still does, if he had a body, but he had really beautiful blue eyes. All of my siblings and myself have blue eyes. My mother has green eyes. And they were just like my dad's eyes. And I heard a voice, and this man kind of looked like my father, had very dark hair, wasn't super tall. And I heard when I got this, I almost burst out crying in that second. I actually did start to cry, but I covered it up, But I heard, welcome home. Welcome home. So that's why I'll be teaching a retreat in Ireland next year. And I loved it. It's a beautiful place. So try not to get so caught up in the why, as I spoke about earlier. You'll get the information if you stop looking for it. The universe doesn't like the words that have how, what, where, or why in them, because they're all time related. And intuition is just way more interesting than that. It's more fascinating. It's a lot more layered. Like, I bet my father stepped into that person's body for that moment and was sending me love and, kind of shocking me with some sort of interesting energy, and also welcome me home. I'm sure I've had many wonderful lifetimes in Ireland, and maybe some weird ones too. So don't get so caught up in the why. I don't know if your husband passed before or after. That could be an answer as well. But I do feel like there was a pod, soul moment, and you needed it. You wanted it. You like these gifts and talents. I just want you to be in appreciation of that moment. Don't try to figure it out. Just be in appreciation of it. Like, wow, I was ready for an awakening inside my body that has led me to these profound experiences. And when it comes to what are you going to do with these things, first and foremost, they need to feed your life in a positive direction. That's really what intuition and consciousness is all about. Like, we all have it, and we all need to use it to make our lives as wonderful as possible. And what else do you want to do? Do you want to help others? Great, fantastic, wonderful. Of course, there are people who teach classes on these topics. I do. And you can always go to energyintuitive.com. All my courses are up for the next several months, except for the Shift Network, which will go up end of September is when they start their marketing for that particular class. Okay, great. Congratulations. Really fun.
Hi, Marie. My name is Teresa, and I live in South Carolina. I'm so thankful for you and this opportunity. I've known for a long time that I'm a very intuitive person, but I've never delved deeper until recently. It's like I woke up one morning and everything spiritual was turned on in my brain, and I can't devour enough information. I'm listening to people's NDE, spiritual podcast, and taking classes. My question revolves around why I feel the sudden drive to know more and delve deeper and develop this part of my soul. I know you always say that to connect to the other side of the veil, we need to dwell in our joy. The problem is that I'm not really sure what brings me true joy. Overall, I'm a happy person. I just don't know those things that bring me joy. I would love to hear your perspective on why I feel suddenly so drawn to the spiritual side of my soul and how I can incorporate this into my everyday physical life, such as my career. I'm a nurse and currently work as a telephonic case manager for an insurance company. Is there a reason that this has been awakened within me, and what exactly am I supposed to do with it? Thank you for your valuable insight and light in this world.
You're very welcome. And rinse and repeat from our last caller. Instead of thinking, why did this happen? Although I asked the same question when I, began to see these golden little pyramids spinning all around me. I would notice them as soon as I woke up in the morning, and it stayed with me for months and months and months. And I would, why is this happening? And I did ask my mom, who I believe everyone in my family is actually very intuitive. I just happen to maybe have I don't know if this is true, but the lesser degree of traumas and the passion, to share it, perhaps. I'm not really sure. And it doesn't really matter, really. But just look at it. It's a timing thing, right? Like, you've probably done some significant inner work that has allowed you to be in alignment with your authentic self. So the answer to the why question is really in celebration to yourself. Like, why can't you appreciate and value that? Oh, I allowed this to happen. People are notoriously not allowing themselves to heal, whatever that means to them, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And you did something. You learned something. You shifted. You changed your perception, which opened up your perception so that you can be multisensory. And you already are a nurse, so you probably want to help other people. I would encourage you to first figure out what brings you personal joy, because as you know, although you're doing it for insurance purposes, so it's a different type of nursing career, it sounds a tad boring. For now, that means that you're a little bored out of it. I mean, it's a great job, actually. It's probably not as taxing as running on a floor and moving patients and holding people as they sob, but it's going to be imperative that you figure out, and that's you getting curious about what brings you joy. Maybe go, like, remember that movie, The Runaway Bride, right? With, I can't remember her name right now. I don't remember people's names very well. I know you're all yelling her name because she's a famous actress. I should know her name. But in the movie, she doesn't know what her favorite eggs are because she's chosen to like whoever the fiance of the month is, to love his eggs, So she makes, I think, 5 or 6 different eggs, and she tastes all of them without thinking about other people. That's key. And I think she was single at the time. That's helpful. And she was tasting all the eggs until she figured it out, which I think it was Eggs Benedict or something like that. So that's what you need to do. You need to go out and practice. You need to go out and try things. You need to go out and find out for yourself. Put the energy into you to discover your own personal joys, because it's worth it. It's valuable. It's life altering. And to do intuitive work, you need to have a high frequency. And of course, I'm happy that you're happy, because I think, but I do think your happiness has a lot to do with empathy. So you want to be happy for others. We want you to be happy for yourself. And when you run your energy high and you're using your intuition for yourself or others, it's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more accurate. It's a lot more helpful. Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening to the show today. And I will see you soon. Joyful blessings. Bye-bye for now.